Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the host with the most. It is Max. We are back live starting this new year. Happy New Year to you all. Welcome to 2017. We're going to spice it up here a little bit. We're not talking about the Red Wings, which we all know is super depressing. With me tonight is our writer, Michael, who contributes to the blog in a very special way. He covers the Toledo Walleye for us. He's very knowledgeable and he knows his walleye. So, Michael, welcome to the show. Welcome to T-Town. This is T-Town, all about the Toledo Walleye. Michael, how are you doing up there in Toledo?
Doing fantastic. How are you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm alive. I've survived my very, very long week of work, past 3 weeks. So after this show, I'm cranking open some beers and I'm not gonna want to talk to anybody. But anyway. More importantly, let's get to it. This is the debut of T-Town Talk. All about Toledo Walleye here. No Red Wing talk here. We're not going to talk about how depressing that is. We're focusing on the walleye. So, Michael, how about you start us off with a little introduction about the Toledo Walleye franchise?
Well, Toledo Walleye have been around since 2009, and we are a part of the East Coast Hockey League. That's the ECHL for short, and that is a step below the AHL. All of the ECHL teams except for the Fort Wayne Comets have an affiliation with an NHL team. We are, of course, affiliated with the Red Wings. Now, over 600 former ECHL players have played in the NHL. Two names you might recognize, Luke Glendening for our Red Wings, and then Jonathan Quick played for the Reading Royals of the ECHL before eventually making his way up to the Kings, of course, winning the Stanley Cup with them. Now, the Walleye haven't always been the Walleye. Prior to this team, they were the Toledo Storm. The Storm were around from 1991 to 2007. During their time, they played in the ECHL as well. They won 2 Riley Cups. That's the championship cup of that time. And then before that, we were also a couple other different franchises. The very first one were the Toledo Mercury of the International Hockey League. They played from 1947 to 1963. They won 3 championships. They were also the Toledo Blades. They had a name change to the Toledo Hornets, but it's the same team. They also played in the International Hockey League from 1963 to 74. They also won 2 championships. And then one last team before the Storm, the Toledo Gold Diggers, one of my favorite names ever for a franchise. They played from 1974 to 86, also in the IHL, and also they won 4 championships. Now, the Walleye have been affiliated with the Red Wings since their creation in 2009, and they have also naturally been affiliated with the Grand Rapids Griffins. That's kind of a nice little intro for our Walleye and how they became a team.
Thank you. That was a quick little history lesson. I loved it. So, quick question for you. What is the championship trophy called now if it's not called the Riley Cup anymore?
Now it is called the Kelly Cup. It's the Kelly Cup playoffs, named after the commissioner, and his last name is Kelly.
Okay, so, well, as long as the NHL doesn't adopt that policy, I think we'll be okay. Because I would never want the Red Wings to win the Bettman Cup. But
I'll pass on that.
Yes, definitely pass on that. We're going to a little segue here. We're going to talk about the current team right now of this 2016-2017 ECHL year. Michael, why don't you give us a quick little background check on this year's Toledo Walleye?
So far, we are off to our best start in franchise history. We are 24-5-0-1 through 30 games. Now, the ECHL is a little different with their record and how they score it. Obviously, in the NHL, there's 3 numbers. You have wins, regulation losses, and then overtime losses that include shootouts. For stat tracking in the ECHL, it's a little different. They separate overtime and shootout losses for a lot of their stats. But those last 2 numbers are basically the last third number in NHL. We also have the best offense in the league. We're scoring over 4 goals a game right now, 4.2 to be exact. We have the best power play unit in the league at 23.5%. And that's just amazing. Their power play is a lot of fun to watch. We have 5 players currently that have more than 10 goals. That would be Tyler and Tyson Spink. We'll talk about them more later. We have AJ Jenks, Evan Rankin, and Tyler Secura. Then 10 players have more than 10 assists. 5 of those players have 19 or more assists on the team. So we're getting a lot of points out there, and we're making teams real uneasy in their own zone. So it's a lot of fun so far in this 2016-17 season.
That is, there's a lot of things that I wish the Red Wings were what you just listed in their stats. That power play, the goal scoring, and probably the record too, because let's all be honest here, the Red Wings suck right now. But
it's a rough year so far, that's for sure.
It is. So I'm glad to hear that the Toledo Walleye are a bright spot in this organization. Quick question, though. I would like to give our viewers and our fans your background and how you got into the Toledo Walleye.
So the fun part about Toledo Walleye hockey is, for me, it's a lot closer than going to Detroit. Detroit's about an hour drive, and that's if I'm hauling. Whereas going to a walleye game is maybe 15 to 20 minutes from my house to the arena, and that includes parking if I park close. Now, the second thing is it's substantially cheaper to go to a walleye game. You go to a Red Wings game, you're paying at least $50 for a seat. You go to a walleye game, you could pay anywhere from, if you're right on the glass, it's $25. If you're a couple rows back, it's $18 per game, and that's a fantastic price for the quality of product we're getting right now. And it's a great atmosphere. The fans are really good. It's a really fun place to go watch hockey.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I think our viewers, if they ever find you on Facebook, they've seen that flag in your background before.
Yes, sir.
At these games. So you want to give a little taste of what you do at these games? Because we know as staff know how rambunctious you get. So
well, if we take a quick peek behind me here, we can see this little bad boy right here. That's my weapon right there, shall we say, to instill fear to the other team. So when I got season tickets for the first time this year with my brother, and this came with the package they gave us when we got all the tickets. They included a flag, they included a few other goodies, and I figured, well, we have a flagpole at home, but it's not really near the arena, so I don't really know how many people would see it. So I want to make sure everybody sees it. So I made that little pole it's attached to. We take her to games, and every time they score, or if we have a little media timeout or something like that, or we just feel like it, we wave the flag, try to get the people around us cranked up, ready to go, show our support for the boys out there.
I love it. I love it. I wish you could find a way to pump up the Red Wings, but that is fantastic. I love how you can pump up home crowd like that at a Toledo Walleye game. That is fantastic. Moving on, you want to talk about significant team members that we have on this year's Toledo Walleye and also the coaching staff?
Absolutely. We have a first-year head coach with Dan Watson. Now, he might be a first-year head coach, but he is certainly not a new member of our organization. He actually played with the Toledo Storm for a couple years, and he played about 7 years of hockey in the UHL, ECHL, and AHL. The UHL is the United Hockey League. And he was a defenseman. He played also minor, or I should say OHL hockey with the Saginaw Stain, Sarnia Stain. I think Sarnia Stain, that's the right one. So when he finished his playing career, he stayed with the Walleye, and he began his coaching career with them. And he had very small experience as an interim head coach when a previous coach left during the season, but this is his first time being head coach from off-season to regular season. And he's been doing a fantastic job of it. He's really blown a lot of people's expectations out of the water, I feel like. So much so that he has been named the head coach for this year's All-Star game, which is fantastic. I love it. Now, his assistant coach is Andy Delmore. That might ring a few bells for our viewers out there, because Andy Delmore is a former professional NHL defenseman. He played over 280 games in the NHL, ranging with the Flyers, the Sabres, the Predators, and the Blue Jackets. you might recognize his name because he scored a hat trick in the playoffs as a rookie for Philadelphia against the Penguins. I believe he is still the only Philadelphia Flyers rookie defenseman to score a hat trick in the playoffs. I believe that's still the case. So he's on the coaching staff as an assistant coach, and he played with Coach Watson for the Sarnia Sting as obviously a defenseman. I believe they played 1 year together before they moved on. One moved up out of Sarnia. Third player I want to talk about is Hirschfeld, Alden Hirschfeld. This may or may not be his jersey here. Now, Alden is a really special story. He was playing hockey for Toledo and the Grand Rapids Griffins last year, but he suffered a seizure during a game and he collapsed on the bench. And that was in February. I think it was January or February of the year we just had. And obviously after that, he was unable to play hockey, and he decided to undergo brain surgery because they found a malformation inside of his temporal lobe, I believe, on the left side of his brain. And they removed that malformation in March, and now he is back playing hockey with Toledo. It's just an awesome story. It's really good to have. He's from this area. He played hockey for Northview High School, which is probably about 20, 30 minutes away from where I live. Really good to see him back. Now, Evan Rankin has broken the franchise point record that was set by former captain Kyle Rogers this year. And then Shane Birchback has also broke the record for assists that was also set by Kyle Rogers this year. So really, really awesome season stat-wise already. And then the twins, Tyler and Tyson Spink, I told you they'd be coming back. They're identical twins that play for Toledo, and they're having a breakout year. They played a little bit last season, not a whole lot because they were fresh out of college. They came near the end of the season, but they have really, really proven they deserve this spot on the team. They deserve their spots in their lines because they are first and third in points. Tyler has 34 points, and his brother Tyson has 31 points. So that's pretty incredible that they can come in, where Tyler has 34, Tyson has 31, sorry. It's pretty incredible for them to come in and just start lighting it up as they have.
Yeah, no, that I wish the Wings had a dynamic duo like that. Those twins sound very impressive. And in your opinion, do you think those twins will make the NHL, or do you think
I think I need to see them in the AHL before I can make that decision, because though you know how if you've ever met a pair of identical twins, you know they have just that mental link where they just know. Yeah, they just know what the other's thinking. They know what they're doing, and on the ice that reflects. But they're both not the biggest guys. I think they're either 6 foot or just a little under 6 foot, and they don't have a lot of meat on their bones. So they're not the biggest guys. They're definitely skill forwards. So I don't know if they'll be able to make the NHL. I'd have to see them in Grand Rapids before I make that decision. Because a lot with Ferk, when what's that?
Oh, not to interrupt you. I was just going to ask you, are they have they been drafted by a team, or?
That is something I have to look up, actually. I'm not entirely sure. I don't believe they are currently signed with a team because actually, no, that might not be the case because they did go to a training camp for a AHL affiliate of the Predators, I believe. I believe it was for the Predators. So I think the Predators might have
Milwaukee Admirals then.
Yes, I think they did some AHL work with the Admirals, but I'm not 100% on that. I may be mistaken there.
Okay. I think that was the only question I had off of that. I do remember that player though that you said with the brain surgery. That was that. I remember that when Twitter blew up about that. That was a scary moment. He's obviously really fortunate, and as a hockey community, we're very fortunate that he was able to get treatment by the fantastic medical staff at the Griffins, and for them to be able to get that figured out. I believe him and his wife are expecting their second child. I could be mistaken on that, but that'd be fantastic. Yeah, no, the only thing I remember when that happened and I saw the replay, the first thing I thought of was Yuri Fisher all over again. That was scary.
Oh, absolutely.
But branching off here a little bit about, you brought up important pieces to this roster and coaching staff. What actual Red Wing prospects are with the Toledo Walleye?
So at this moment, we have two prospects that are currently with the team. We have Zach Nastasiuk and Jake Patterson. We'll start with Nastasiuk. Now, he has gone back and forth between Toledo and Grand Rapids a lot this season. He has 2 goals and 4 assists for us, but he's played 11 games. Now, I like his offensive presence because he's very good at gaining the zone and he's good at making sure the puck stays in the zone. But he needs to work on his accuracy with his shots because a lot of his shots he rips them wide. And they're nice, solid shots, but that doesn't mean anything if they're not making contact with the goaltender. It's like Polkinen. You can fire a cannon, but if it doesn't hit the net, who cares?
Yeah,
the goaltender will take that any day of the week. His neutral zone play, as much as he is good at gaining the zone, but when he makes a mistake, he turns it over bad. So I think that's one of the reasons he keeps getting moved around so much. He needs to work on his neutral zone play when he's not successful, and he needs to get better accuracy with his shots. Now, Patterson has been having a great year. When he was at the prospect tournament this year, I thought he was going to have a chance to make the Griffins roster. Unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case. But he's been with Toledo, and he's was sharing reps at one point with Cal Heater. We'll talk a little bit about him in a second. But right now, Patterson, he's 14-4-0-1, or 14-4-1 if you want to make it easy. He has a goals allowed average of 2.35 and a save percentage of .918. So pretty good stats right there. In the ECHL, we do give up more goals than NHL teams just because of player movement, and there is a slightly less talent pool. Even though the talent is amazing in the ECHL, they're not NHL players. That's just the long and the short of it. Early in the season, I thought he was going to be the starter from his progressions last season. Now that Jeff Lerg is in Denmark and not with the team anymore, I felt Patterson was poised to take over that number 1 role. However, we brought Cal Heater on board. The Ohio State Buckeye grad kind of stole the show early in the season. He was playing really good hockey. The team was playing really well in front of him. And I believe both Heater and Patterson have had 8-game win streaks in the net. Now, Heater has been called up to the Griffins twice now. He went up when Howard was on the 7-day IR, and he's with them now that Howie's out for long-term with the MCL sprain. I feel like Jake Patterson needs to take this time where he's the definite number 1 to kind of prove how he can handle it. He can handle this number 1 role. He can eventually make that transition to the Griffins because I feel like he's there, but he just needs to work on his rebound control, which he's been doing, but that has always kind of been his Achilles heel. He gives up a lot of bad rebounds, especially in the slot. And in the ECHL, that's going to burn you, and it's going to burn you bad. He's been getting a lot better, though, especially since last year. So I feel like by the end of the season, he might get his chance to bump up to Grand Rapids, but we'll see how it turns out.
Quick question bouncing off of that. Do you see Jake Patterson as possibly maybe down the line here, a goalie in the pipeline for the Red Wings where we might see him at some point either backing up Mrazek or backing up Caro or, just like, I guess close enough, like, I guess be in the AHL, but, close enough to where they could call him up if they needed a goalie?
I feel like Patterson, from what I've seen right now, would be a backup if he ever gets called up. I don't feel like he'd be a starter yet. He's a pretty big body. He has good crease presence, but he's kind of like Mrazek, where he's aggressive. He loves to come out on top of the crease, and he loves to cut down the angles. But we've seen you could get punished for that really bad. He has been punished for that, even in the ECHL. So I feel like he needs to work on a little more discipline along with the rebounds, like I was saying. But not to get away from the point, I feel like he can be a backup in the NHL. I am not sure about a starter. And I feel like he might have a good home in the AHL. That might be his nice, happy spot.
Okay. Do you see him And not to like throw a million questions at you, but this is your T-Town Talk debut show. So I'm going to throw as many questions as I can at you. But do you see him possibly for no matter what happens with the Red Wings and this expansion draft? Do you see him starting next year in Grand Rapids? Behind maybe Coro, or do you see him going back down to Toledo to start the year, but being maybe clearly the number one?
I feel like that has a lot to do with how they treat Pascal. That's how you pronounce his name for the Griffins, correct?
Yeah.
I feel it has a lot to do with Pascal and what they do with him. If he's still with the organization and he plays good this season with the Griffins, I think it's going to be hard for Patterson to win that spot over him, but it's very possible. If Patterson has a great rest of the season, if Toledo goes on and has a fantastic regular season behind Patterson, and they go deep in the playoffs, I think it's a real possibility he can make that AHL leap. But there's a couple variables in there that's going to make it hard for him to do that. So he's going to have to earn it.
Okay. And we all know, as even, it's a Red Wing mantra and probably the same with the Griffins mantra. I mean, you have to earn your playing time.
Mm-hmm.
There are no freebies. But just one more question about Patterson before I move on to the other player that you had mentioned. Okay, let's say he doesn't make it. Do you see this being like an ego problem where he will get he gets sent back down to Toledo and he has a rough year? Kind of, I don't like to use this player as an example, but in my honest opinion, it was Mantha. Like, we all thought Mantha was going to make this team. Didn't happen. I actually saw him here opening night down here in Charlotte, and he disinterested, like he didn't play defense, and now Mantha, of course, he's like one of our rising stars all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I see. So do you see that affecting Patterson at all, or do you think he just puts it behind him and, and puts himself as a challenge to make himself better?
One thing that I've really noticed with Patterson is he has matured a lot since last season. Because last season, if he let in a bad goal or something like that happen, he would hang his head and he'd beat himself up. This season, though, he's been really good about just putting a goal past him and refocusing, rearming for that next play session. And I feel like he's like that with his call-ups. Because last season, he did get called up to the Griffins for a little bit before he got sent back down. And I'm feeling that he would be very good at controlling his emotions, at making sure that he didn't let that affect his play, affect his attitude. He seems like he's really dialed in a lot of the times in the net. And if he has a bad night, he's very good at compartmentalizing it. So I don't feel like him not making the Griffins is going to make him a poor goaltender in Toledo. I feel like he's going to be working hard either way.
All right. I like that. I like that work ethic. Bouncing off to the other player you mentioned, I already forgot his name. I know it's Zach.
Zach Nastasiuk.
Nastasiuk. Okay.
I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Where do you see him, like, down the line, maybe? Like, I have seen him, bounce around between the Griffins and Toledo rosters due to, we basically robbing the Griffins of half the players that we needed to fill our roster.
Yeah.
So, but where do you see, like, him as a future? Do you see him, like, just AHL player, for life, and then, or do you see him, maybe bottom six NHL?
I don't see him NHL right now. I haven't seen him a lot, but every time I see him, I don't really leave a game thinking, wow, he's awesome. I leave a game thinking, he's good, he's serviceable, and that might just be me too busy looking at the space or the rankings or the Securas on our team. But he hasn't impressed me. He hasn't shown me something that tells me he's worthy of the NHL yet. Or I look back and I look at Martin Ferk and I look at him with a much better view than I do Nastasiuk. And that's not saying he's a bad guy. That's not saying he's a poor teammate. Just from his body of work, I feel like he's an AHLer right now, but I don't feel like he's an NHLer yet. If he works on those things I talked about earlier, then I think he has a chance. But right now, no, I don't think so.
Okay. I think that's all I have for question-wise. I was just curious, since we got into Patterson. I wanted to get into Zach as well.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to give you some homework, though, for your next episode, though. If you do get to go to games here and there, I want you to take a look at Zach, harder than, I know it'll be hard to, not watch the Twins because the way you talked about it sounds like it's like a little Sedines all over again. But I would like to hear your honest opinion though, if you get to go to a game or two and see how Zach does play.
Absolutely.
Because at some point we're going to see half the Griffins on the Red Wings roster because there'll be another roster turnover, and so I'd be curious to see if Zach does make Grand Rapids full time.
Yeah, I'll definitely put that on my pen and paper because I am going to the Sunday game. So
very good. I like to hear that.
Hopefully,
so
he's going to be in the
Walleye fans
lineup
out there. The number one fan, Michael, will be at the Walleye game on Sunday. Okay, so thank you for that quick little prospect update. I know it's probably not little, but this is T-Town Talk. This is Michael's show. I'm just here to host, and that's how we roll. But going back off to this season and this impressive record and impressive power play and potent offense. Who has actually stand out to you so far this season? As damn, this is one of the reasons why we are where we are at right now.
A few of these names I've said already, and for good reason. First off, we're talking to Twins again, Tyler and Tyson. I've sang their praise a lot during this show, and I'm going to continue to do so because watching that, they're on a line with Tyler Secure. We're going to get to him a little bit later. I call that the triple S line. I've also heard it called the Ty line. I really like that name too because they're all Tyler, Tyson, Tyler again. And,
Lord,
and yeah, there's a lot of TYs there.
That's just too many.
It's fun to watch them. Sakura centers for the Twins, and the Twins are that twin link is on display every time they hit the ice because one of them is going to chase the puck. They love to dump the puck in the zone when that line's out there because one of the Twins will chase, and then he'll just flip that puck out into the slot, and his brother is going to be there with his blade on the ice ready to make a good shot on that. And it is that way almost every game. It doesn't always get to their blade, but they just know where the other is, and it's so much fun to watch them. They're not the biggest guys. They're not the most physical guys, but their skill makes up for it, and they're just a lot of fun. They score a lot of points, and their birthday, I think, was on the 31st. I could be mistaken, but their birthday was really recent, and they both scored a goal, and they both had an assist on the game they played during their birthday. So that's something that's probably really cool for them. They can be like, hey, we both scored and had a goal and had an assist on our birthday. That's pretty cool. Go ahead.
No, that is just funny. I mean, you talk about twin magic. There's some twin magic for you on your birthday.
It's pretty incredible. Now we'll talk about Sakura a little bit. Now, this is his second full season of professional hockey. He played a little bit of AHL hockey during the 14-15 season, I believe it was, and then he played 68 games, I think it was, for the 15-16 campaign with the Walleye. And I think he scored 45 points during 68 games. I believe that's correct. And then, so I was coming into this year expecting him to really make that progression to the next level, to really start scoring points and kind of take off. He had 48 points last season, actually. So he did exactly what I was hoping him to do this year. He really has continued with his progression. He's very, very smooth down into the zone. He centers the Twins really well. He's already up to, how many points is he up to? He's already up to 25 points through 30 games. Or actually, that's a lie. He's only played 28 games. So he's scored a lot of points and not a lot of games. He's really avoided the sophomore slump, and I'm really excited to see how he progresses throughout the rest of the year. New name, I don't think I mentioned him yet, AJ Jenks. He is a big physical forward, and we love him for it. He is scoring a lot of points for us. I believe he is second on the team in points. Yes, he is. He has 33 points for the Walleye right now, and he is not afraid. He's not afraid to drop the gloves and stand up for his teammates. If there's a bad hit or something he doesn't like, he's going to step up and he's going to step into you. He has really turned up his physicality, and it's really fun to watch him on the ice. Now, another name that you've heard before is Hirschfeld. Now, obviously, without going back into everything he's had happen to him this year, or last year, I guess, it's awesome seeing him on the ice. But one thing that is awesome, aside from him coming back, is he's putting up points, too. Now, he has missed a few games. He's only played 23 games this season. But for those 23 games, he has 18 points, 9 goals, 9 assists. And it's really good to see him back at home for Toledo, playing good quality ice time, making plays, and just being on the ice. He's one of those guys, he's on the ice and it calms the team. He's a heart and soul player. He gets them motivated, ready to go. It's great to have him back. Now, we get to talk about another newer player, Jacob McDonald. I believe this is also his second year. Now, he made the all-rookie team last season. He's the coveted offensive defenseman. He is making his first appearance in the All-Star game this year. He has 26 points on the year through, how many games have you played, McDonald? Let's make sure I say it right. He has played all 30 games with us. And 26 points through 30 games as a defenseman, I'll take it. That's awesome. That's why we went out and got him, because we wanted that offensive pressure. He's great on the power play. He's great on 5-on-5. He's very, very versatile. You can kind of put him anywhere, and he just makes it work. It's a lot of fun to watch him. He's a good skater. He digs real hard for his putts. He's good in the defensive zone. He's just what you want to see from a defenseman, and it's a lot of fun to watch him on the ice. And I've been really impressed with how he's come into his sophomore season as well. He doesn't make excuses. He just goes out there and he plays, and it's a lot of fun to watch him.
Didn't he also make the All-Star team?
Yes, he made the All-Star. Yep, he made the All-Star team this year. Yes, he did. It's first selection.
That is impressive. That is very impressive. Really quick before we move on to our next little topic, I forgot to ask you this. Are there any other players currently, and you may have to do some research on this, which that's okay, but are there any other players, like prospects on the Walleye that, I know, of course, we know they're not Red Wing property, but are there any other players on this team that are like other NHL player, other franchises property?
Absolutely.
Do you know?
One off the top of my head is Nolan Zajac. He is a Minnesota Wild prospect. He was actually with the Minnesota Wild during their training camp this year. And the name Zajac probably rings a few bells because, the Zajacs are currently in the –
Yeah, yep, Travis Zajac.
Yep, that's his brother.
No way. Are you serious?
Yes, it is. That is his little brother. I believe Nolan is the youngest of the Zajac boys. So that's really cool. We have a lot of family. Yep. And he's right here in Toledo. He got sent down, I believe, right before the season started for Toledo. Yep, he's played all 30 games with us, but he was at the Minnesota Wild training camp. I know that almost 100% because I remember reading that. So besides that, though, I'm not sure. I don't know of any off the top of my head besides that are prospects for other teams. I'd have to do a little digging for that.
No, that's fine. That's another homework assignment for you. I just curious because we were talking about Patterson, and I'm gonna just call him Zach. I ain't gonna butcher his last name. I'm not butchering. I want to say it, but then I'm like, no, don't do
Poor
it.
Nastasiuk.
Yeah, Nastasiuk. But okay, so there's another homework assignment for you for episode 2 of T-Town Talk. But okay, that's cool. I can't believe there's another Zajac. Jesus.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I've grown up with the Zajacs.
They're everywhere.
Yes, they are everywhere. Okay. Thank you for answering that quick big thing. So moving back towards, like this current team, where they are right now in the standings, of course, number 1 and so forth. Excellent record. What are your expectations for them, come towards, and I know very little about the ECHL, so I mean, don't like harp on me for this, but how many games are in their season? Like they don't play all 82 like their Wings, do they?
I believe it's a 72-game season.
Okay, so they play 10 less. Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's a 72-game season, and they have 4 rounds for their playoffs.
Okay, so then my following question is: do they start around the same time as like the NHL and the AHL starts off, or is there like a gap period?
The first game for the Walleye this season was October 14th.
Okay, so no,
And
it literally was in line with the Red Wings.
yep, it's all about the same.
Okay.
The difference in game total comes in that a lot of these, or I should say, there are fewer weekday games than the NHL. A lot of the games for the ECHL are centered around the weekend or Wednesday or Tuesday. But most of them, a lot of teams will play 3 games every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that'll be their month. Or they'll have a 4-game week where it has one on Wednesday or Thursday or something like that.
Okay.
It's a very weekend-heavy league.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. Hockey on the weekends, that sounds like heaven to me. Okay, so going back to the original statement here, leading up to our final segment before our questions, this team's record impressive, offense impressive, power play numbers impressive. Something I think all Red Wings fans wish we had. What are your expectations for them? To end, come playoff time. Granted, let's hope they still keep this up and make the playoffs. But what are their expectations in your mind as for this team? Like, what's the goal? What's the goal here come playoff time?
Well, the goal front and center that's been stated by fans and the team alike is a championship. It's championship or bust in here for Toledo. The coaches have said that. The players have said that. That's how the fans feel. Because last season, we had another great year. We finished with a phenomenal record. We won our division. That's when we were still in the Eastern Conference. We're in the Western Conference now. But we got bounced in the first round. And that hurt. That hurt really bad. That hurt for the fans. That hurt for the players. Everybody. It didn't feel good. This season, we need a deep playoff run. And I don't think the fans will be happy with anything less than a conference playoff series, in my opinion. But I think everybody's expecting a championship this year. The Walleye have yet to get a championship. We're the only Toledo hockey franchise that has not got a championship. Granted, we're only, I believe, we're up to 8 years old now. For the start of the new year, we're still a young franchise, but we have a lot of pride in Toledo for our hockey and how well we do as a franchise. We need to be able to put that banner into the rafters and go, we have a championship. I feel like without that, this season might be looked at as almost like a Golden State Warrior from last year where they did great in the regular season, then they blew it. And obviously it's still really early in the season. Like you said, it's still really early. A lot can change. Injuries happen. Call-ups happen. But if we keep this going at the rate we are and we go to the playoffs like we are, we need a championship, or else I feel like this will be a busted year. It may be our best shot at a championship too, because a lot of players probably aren't going to be batting next year. I believe Evan Rankin might not return because I think he was going to retire in this offseason, but he came back because he saw the talent pool we had. AJ Jenks he's younger, but he's also not the youngest. And the ECHL has a policy: you can only have 4 veterans on your team, and they define veterans, I believe, as 200 games or more. So there's a lot of turnover for an ECHL team. If Patterson leaves, then there's a goaltending question. If teams leave for another city, you have talent leaving all the time, and you're going to try to reload. And who knows how you're going to look next year. So I feel like this is our best shot this season with this squad. If it's not now, it might not be for a while.
Okay. To bounce off of that, one last little question. But you said, if let's say, for example, let's say you win one. Okay, congrats. I'm going to be rooting for it because I don't think the Wings are going anywhere. But to more stay focused here, let's say Patterson, gets the promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Does this what's his name? Cal Heater. Cal. Okay,
Yep.
My apologies. But Cal Heater, is he technically then? Would he become the goalie, or would you think he'd be like one of those players that leaves?
I think it depends. I think it depends a lot on what he wants to do. The contracts in the ECHL they're not announced very widely like they are in the NHL. So it's kind of hard to say what his contract is. I would guess that it's a year contract with, at the end of the year, they're going to look at it and go, what do you want to do? Or he's going to ask himself, what do I want to do? So it wouldn't surprise me if he wins one this season. I'd give it 50-50 he stays or goes, because he might want to try going to the AHL. Or he might go, hey, I really liked it here. This was fun. Let's give it another whirl and see how it goes. But I wouldn't put a lot of confidence in him staying, just because that's the nature of an ECHL franchise. There's a lot of movement between seasons, and that's just the rule down here.
All right. No, that was just a quick question since we did a little turnover. Moving on, that kind of really wraps up this first episode of T-Town Talk. Now we're going to get into questions, which we really didn't get any. And viewers out there or friends of Michael's and all that, please send us your questions. Michael and I will gladly, answer them. Mostly it's going to be Michael. All I'm going to do is read them off to him. Just give me something to do. This is all Michael's. This is Michael's baby. This is the first episode. So please send us your questions and we'll get to them. As we'll get on, before we wrap up, we will say how you can do that and so forth. But I know we did get two. We did get one from Michael's brother, Mitchell, which is kind of more of a funny question, but I got to read it off anyway.
Here we go.
Basically, because I know there's also a story along with this question, so it works out perfectly. But basically, Mitchell goes, what does a game-worn jersey smell like on a 1 to greasy socks? And I'm going to just let Michael handle this one, so Michael, have at it.
So at a game a couple weeks ago, the Walleye had specialty jerseys, and it was for kind of their civic celebration night. And for a while, it was December 23rd, that's the game. And for a while, I saw they announced the look of these jerseys, and I wanted this jersey. I was going to buy just one of the blanks in the store, but I saw the price tag, and I'm like, I don't know if I can afford that. So I went up, I get a raffle ticket for the game warrants, and lo and behold, I won Alden Hirschfeld's jersey. There's number 23 right there. All my Walleye fans out there know that's his number. Then there's our alternate captain patch. So naturally, I flipped out along with my brother, like, holy crap, I just won Hirschfeld's jersey. Now, with it being game worn, I received it about 5 minutes, 10 minutes about after he left the ice. So they handed me the jersey. I walk over to my brother, give him a big hug, like, holy crap, I won a jersey. And then I'm like, this is really wet. And I smell it, I'm like, holy crap, this is game worn. So on a scale of 1 to greasy sock, I think I'd have to give it a solid 7. Because it wasn't like I'm going to die when I smelled it, but it definitely wasn't something I was going to put on immediately. So we were able to get it nice and clean. Now it smells really nice. I promise I'm not sitting here sending stink waves out into the atmosphere.
Oh, thank God. I was just going to ask that question, but so we're good there. So there you go. It's a solid 7, Mitchell. I hope Michael tells you his answer. But basically, this comes in from Katie S, who is a friend of Michael's. Sorry, Katie, but nice to meet you through YouTube. But basically, she's gonna ask Michael. She asked you, "What's your opinion on the hit somebody cry near the end of the national anthem at home games?" So you're gonna have to probably start off for our viewers the story behind it, and then to the answer of Katie's question.
Now, hit somebody is a cry that has been shouted at Walleye games for a long time. Now, when the Storm became a franchise, a group of fans started yelling "hit somebody" in between the final 2 verses of the national anthem. I believe this started during the anthem with the Storm. And it's been that way since the Storm's inaugural season. Now, recently, it's kind of come into question. There was a radio show host who brought it out in front and said, this is really disrespectful. We need to stop doing this. Now, a lot of people are interpreting this, in my view, as they're trying to get rid of the cry altogether. I don't think that's the case. They are never going to get rid of hit somebody as a whole, because it's a really big part of marketing and it's a big part of this crowd identity for this team. However, I think at the end of the day, it's up to the executives of the franchise, the organization, to decide whether or not they want this chant to continue in the anthem. Now, it's worth noting that when we yell hit somebody, the singer stops and there's silence, and then we say it, and then the singer keeps going with the anthem. It's not like we're saying this as they're singing. So they make a dedicated little pause for us to yell. In my opinion, I would like to see it stay, but I also understand if they change it, if they move it. But I don't think it's going to get moved. If it does get moved, it'll be within the next 2 or 3 years, and that's going to be coming from the executives. If it doesn't get changed within those 2 or 3 years, I don't think it's going to get changed for a long time, if at all. So I would be keeping an ear open, but I don't think anything is going to change anytime soon.
Well, Katie, I hope that answers your question, and I hope you watched this episode so you can find out the answer to your question. But that pretty much wraps up our questions. So like I said before, if you have a question for our next show and you want to either reach out to Michael, or you can reach out, if you're on Twitter, you can tweet us at Winged Octopus and just send us a message. Just tweet us the question and Michael and I will see it. Or if you're on Facebook, either shoot Michael a question, on his wall, or send him a personal message. Or you can actually ask us also on Winged Octopus. We are also on Facebook, and you can shoot us your question that way.
Absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed the pilot episode of T-Town Talk. This was all Michael's idea. I'm here just to really keep him in line and make sure he doesn't go off crazy and become a storyteller. But Michael, as we do here always, you can shout yourself off to the fans and viewers. So if you wanted to shout your Twitter handle and anything else you'd like to say before I get into the logistical stuff that wrap this episode up.
I just want to say thank you for everybody who joined in, who tuned in, who took the time out of your Wednesday night to listen. It means a lot to both Max and I. My Twitter handle, if you want to get more walleye updates, is MC_Scott51. If you want to follow me, get some walleye updates. Or if you just want to see some hockey pictures and little stats attached to them, I like to post a lot on my Instagram. And my Instagram is... Hold on, let me pull up the name so I get this right, because I would hate to get you guys the wrong one. So it's M.C.Scott51 for Instagram. So if you want to follow either one, I'd really appreciate it. Or if you just want to tag along and see some hockey updates here and now, feel more than welcome to. And of course, follow Winged Octopus, Twitter and Facebook. Give us a like.
Yes, please do. Michael, thank you for doing this. We appreciate it. It's going to be, I'm hoping this first episode went over well, because we are going to bring T-Town Talk, hopefully maybe at least once a week or maybe every other week. Of course, schedules, of course, real life, adulting. I know that's not a real word, but I like to use it because my little sister hates it when I use it. But anyway, I'm going to do a quick rundown here of the whole staff, though. Give them a shout out just because I appreciate all the work we have done, and we are now in 2017. But like Michael said, he is our walleye Superman. He is literally everything walleye. He's got it covered for us, and we appreciate all the effort and work he's done for us. So like Michael said before, his Twitter handle, and I appreciate that. And before I shout out the staff, of course, follow us on Twitter at Winged Octopus, Facebook Winged Octopus. I think we have an Instagram. I still don't really know what that is. I will never get one. So the day I die,
Instagram is for pictures. Twitter's for words.
Picture, forget that. I don't do pictures. You can also find us on Google Play and on iTunes. We are official. We're pretty legit. We've got an iTunes all set up. Just type in Winged Octopus on either Google Play or iTunes. Subscribe to us, download, and you can follow along with our episodes. This will also be on our YouTube page, so subscribe to us as well. It'll be up probably, give or take, on the next probably 12 to 24 hours to get it up there on our YouTube page. So please, though, give us a like, give us comments. Michael and I will gladly accept any feedback. But this is basically the first episode of this walleye coverage that we're going to start to bring you this year, and hopefully, throughout, as long as Winged Octopus is kicking and breathing. But anyway, I want to just thank Michael again personally, and he's going to have to stick around for this, but I just want to give a shout out to the whole staff. And we have Anthony, who writes for us about the Griffins. His Twitter handle is at Wings and Griffs Fan. Great guy. I love Anthony. He's going to become a dad again, so congratulations,
Hooray!
Anthony. Good luck with that. If it is a little girl, I'll help you buy some guns because God help you. We also have Xander. Yes, arm the fort. We also have Xander at Nyquist Snipe. Xander is fantastic. We love everything that Xander has brought to us. I feel bad that every time Xander goes to see the Wings down Florida, she can never get a win. And I'm always so upset because I feel like they owe Xander a win, and they just every time they're in Tampa, they just get smoked. And poor Xander's there every time, and I just feel terrible. Of course, we have our usual suspects, that usually are on here. We got K at K Loves Red Wings. I think Love is LUVS. I think Kayla is still celebrating the I know it's not Pee Wee's, and I know she's gonna get mad at me for saying it, but the World Junior Team USA. I'm pretty sure she's drinking somewhere and celebrating still because that ridiculous shootout victory over Russia. Tyler at Larkin Sanity. Tyler's probably also watching the game, so I hope he's not watching this right now so I don't ruin it for him. But because I know he said he was working late, but he's probably going to cry tears of joy when he sees the end result of that game. Then we've got Matt out in California who protects the western coast of us for us. That's the big joke Matt and I have. He's at True Blue Lottery 21. Matt probably is still enjoying that Rose Bowl victory from USC. He probably still hasn't come off cloud nine.
That was a game.
That was a game. That was a game. Then we have good old my buddy Travis at Trav Swag. I'm gonna meet him in about a month. I'm really excited. I know he's excited. We're gonna go to the game. I'm gonna meet Michael too, February 3rd. We're going to go see the Islanders. Max is coming to the Joe, one last ride. Travis is probably still gonna keep bragging about how his Packers ran the table against my Lions. It's just unbelievable.
Hey, at least your team won more than one game.
Hey man, that's not my problem. You're in Cleveland for a reason.
I'm just saying.
No, I know. Then we got Valerie, Valerie's my granddaughter since I'm just so freaking old compared to these kids. But Valerie's at Valerie K.O. Jack. That's her Twitter handle. Valerie is a fantastic writer, always Red Wing coverage or anything else. She actually was fantastic in putting together our Christmas article. I hope you liked our Secret Santa.
That was awesome.
That was. Then we also have Lauren at Red Wings. Lauren Red Wings.
I can check right now for you. I got you.
Thank you. But Lauren actually works at the Joe on game days, so you might see her there. She's also on another podcast right now, and I know they're filming it right now. So Lauren, good luck with that podcast. Give us Wingo love. Give us some Wingo love. But no, Lauren's fantastic as well.
Sorry to interrupt. It is Red Wings Lauren.
No, good. Is that Red Wings Lauren? That's
yep.
Fantastic. That is fantastic. So I was right the first time. I'm exhausted. I'm so burned out. It's not even funny anymore. Then we've got Matt out in Missouri. He's at Bauer Hockey. Matt is fantastic. He also brings in Red Wings articles, and he actually I think wrote a couple years back or a couple months ago about Red Wings and how they kind of simulate certain players from back in the day, the good old days. And I think that's the whole staff. God, if I forget anybody, I'm going to feel like crap.
Well, let's take a peek here. Make sure we got everybody.
Yes,
John. We need John.
Oh, my God, yes, John.
Don't forget Johnny Prospects.
Johnny Hockey, Johnny Prospects, Johnny. John Connor's going to save us out. It's at RW Hockey John, I think is his Twitter handle. John is our fantastic prospect writer.
Send that out again. Send that handle out again, good sir, because I guarantee you he's watching this.
Yes, I know, and he's probably going to yip at me. I'm going to get a text here shortly saying, "What? How the hell did you forget about me?"
He's going to blow your phone up.
I know he is. And I'm John. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired. I'm just so tired. It's at RW Hockey John. I think, is there anybody else, Michael, before we sign off? I'm not going to give my own because people never follow me.
Nah, give your own, brother.
I'll give my own.
Get yourself out there. I think that's everybody. We got Valerie, Travis, Anthony, Kay, Lauren, Matt, other Matt, you, John,
Tyler,
Xander,
and Tom. Yep,
Tyler.
We're good.
I think that's everyone.
Yeah, awesome. Mine's Swedish Mafia 40. I know you probably were all expecting the new Twitter update of the profile of the commissioner. That's the clue, but it's not ready yet due to this past 3 weeks have been brutal hell at work. So
adulting.
It's coming. Don't worry. Yeah, adulting up the ass. But anyway, I think that's it. We're gonna sign off for the night. I hope you enjoyed first episode of T-Town Talk, and we're gonna come back, with more. It's gonna be me and Michael, and hopefully, later on we're gonna get more walleye fans in here. And I'm just going to be outnumbered, and I'm probably going to learn a lot more than I actually really knew about the ECHL. So I know Michael appreciated it. So thank you once again for tuning in. We're going to sign off for the night. Enjoy. Wings play tonight in 2.5 hours. They're out in Anaheim, West Coast trip. This road trip's basically either going to make or break their season. So tune in, Fox Sports Detroit. I don't understand why it's not on NBC because it's Wednesday night hockey. They could have gone on right after the Flyers and Rangers games, but who the hell knows? I ain't NBC. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Toledo Walleye. Michael's going to the game on Sunday. Look him up. He's fantastic. I've seen the pits of him going crazy. I've seen that flag waving. It's crazy. I think he has too much alcohol to drink, but I'm pretty sure once he sees how much I drink at that Islander game, he'll be like, oh, I'm good. Don't worry. But anyway, from all of us here at Winged Octopus Account, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Go Wings, go Walleye, go Griffins, and everyone have a good, safe night. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.